Final weekend in February, and a lot remains to be settled in the Big 12. Number 12, West Virginia, in Fort Worth to take on TCU inside a sold-out Schollmeyer Arena. A look at the top 8 in the Big 12 standings. West Virginia, the number 3 seed currently, but it's these Horned Frogs with the most at stake. Here's head coach Jamie Dixon moments ago.
All right, people, pretty simple here now. We said the last couple days, biggest game of the year for us, all right? No need to hide from it. You guys got social media. They're talking about it. You're asking, all right? No need to hide from it. We know what it is, so go and do it. You will post. You will show up. You will execute. We will play well. We will play well. We're up for this. This is what we talked about all year long. All year we got together. Getting the seniors to the tournament. You're in right now. You got to play your way in. Stay with that. Stay with that, people, all right?
Alongside 1985 national champ with Villanova, Mark Plansky, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Mark, some straight talk from the TCU head coach. It is must-win time for the Frogs.
That is the most overused phrase at the end of February in college basketball. Must win, but it's true. And how about the positivity? I mean, I'm listening to that. They're going to win. I mean, everybody stay here and watch, but they're going to win.
Lenardi's latest has West Virginia as a 4 seed in the Big Dance, but he says squarely enough, if TCU loses, they are out, and West Virginia controls the opening tip. Your officials, John Higgins, Pat Adams, and Kirby Sitton. And Mark, both teams playing without one of their usual starters. For West Virginia, Issa Ahmad, leading scorer, out today.
Leading scorer and had 16 points the first time. And Daxter Miles has been in a little bit of funk, who just knocked down that 15-foot jump shot. Look for him to be happy to step up in Ahmad's absence.
And Miles had 22 points and 7 assists when these two teams first met. That was back on January 7th, an 82-70 West Virginia win. TCU without J.D. Miller tonight.
And of course, J.D. Miller's that big 6'8", 235-pound body, which you need against his front court of West Virginia.
Here's the freshman, Jalen Fisher, having a good first campaign. Brandon Parrish, the spot starter, misses the corner 3, and West Virginia comes away with it.
And that's his shot. Jamie, right in front of us, was all filled with confidence. He's out here knocking down corner jump shots 2 hours before the game.
Elijah Macon, 2 feet in the paint, and he goes over the 7-footer Brodzianski.
Great job by West Virginia recognizing that mismatch you talked about. Without J.D. in the game, Elijah Macon with a sweet little jump hook off the glass.
We watched these Horned Frogs practice yesterday, Mark, and one of the recurring themes you heard from Jamie Dixon throughout practice was you got to play fast, but don't rush against this press Virginia defense.
John Wooden, be quick, don't hurry. And that's easier said than done when you're playing press Virginia.
Tariq Phillips' first shot off the mark. Brodzianski with the rebound. He's been quite the revelation this season for Jamie Dixon.
You know, he's had it down 4 games, Rich, but it's because he's on the top line of the scouting report, getting double teams and a lot of attention.
Good backcourt here, and a young backcourt, and here's the point guard, Fisher. The freshman knocks down his first shot.
That's huge. Now, he leads the team in made threes. That's 44 now, but he has become a great three-point shooter this year. I mean, in high school, he just dominated everybody with his toughness and athleticism. So to hit the first one, Rich, that is huge.
The highest recruit ever at TCU, Jalen Fisher. West Virginia turnover. Let's see what Fisher can do in transition. Tip and the rebound by Adrian.
And get used to saying that a lot, partner. The rebound by Adrian, one of the best in the country on both ends, offensive and defensive glass.
Averaging 6.1 a game for Bob Huggins' club. Here's Macon, not this time, and the rebound goes to the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, but it was Kendrick Williams who really had the rebound. You talk about a great rebounder. We have 2 of the best in the conference.
Here's Alex Robinson, misses from close range, and Kirby Sitton originally said it was West Virginia ball. It's going to stay TCU basketball. The right call there.
Yeah, without question, great second effort by Robinson after the missed gimme, which is always what Coach Dixon needs, right? I need to make shots. What a great job getting to the paint.
There's Bob Huggins, 813 career wins. He's number 9 all-time and number 3 active, putting together a Hall of Fame career, certainly. And the 3rd year that he's had this press Virginia style of play, hoping for big-time results in the NCAA tournament after being knocked out last year as a 3 seed in the first round.
Interesting, and Jamie immediately puts Chris Washburn in for for Vladimir. And what does he do? He attacks the front line on the offensive glass. Great coaching change, great substitution, bring a little energy and a little size to this TCU team. And of course, Chris Washburn is the son of the late, great Chris Washburn, who's my year, Rich, played for NC State. Great story how he got to play for Jimmy Valvano, but he was really the Shaquille O'Neal before Shaquille O'Neal.
There's Jamie Dixon, first year at his alma mater. He played here up until 1987 and led the Southwest Conference in assists. He sold a dream to these players, as you heard earlier on at the top of the telecast, and that dream could be realized today.
Well, you know, he is obviously positive for a reason. 11 out of 13 NCAA tournament appearances at Pittsburgh. He is a winner, and that is the exact culture he's bringing here in Fort Worth. Good man-to-man defense. Excuse me, Rich. Really good half-court man-to-man defense by TCU.
Carter, dead on with a hand in his face. Javon Carter's first points of the afternoon. He's now 25 points shy of 1,000 for his career.
Nobody deserves to make shots more than JC. He is in the gym shooting more than anyone on this West Virginia team. It's interesting. Look at Nathan Adrian out here covering Robinson. I mean, he is probably, not probably, he has the best feet, best footwork of any forward in the Big 12. Look at him staying with the point guard.
Robinson with the right hand.
He is crafty, shifty. I really love the way Alex plays. I mean, he recognized he had a mismatch with Adrian and took his time and got to the rim. Could have settled for the jump shot.
Had 17 points when they first met in Morgantown, but he had 5 turnovers as well. Here's a stoppage of play, our first media timeout in Fort Worth. When we come back, the question is, who is the most feared team come March? We will have the answer for you when we come back. Well, about a week ago, our ESPN basketball colleague Jeff Goodman posted an article on ESPN.com where he asked 50 head and associate coaches, who do you most likely not want to see come NCAA tournament time? And overwhelmingly, the answer was this West Virginia Mountaineers team we're seeing here in Big 12 action. Back inside Schollmeyer Arena alongside Mark Plansky, I'm Rich Hollenberg. So, Mark, I'll pose that question to you. How come West Virginia is so feared come big dance time?
Well, not only is this West Virginia unlike anything you've ever seen, but preparing for it takes you out in a normal week during the season for 2 or 3 days because you have to go 7-on-5 to try to simulate it. If you have 1 day in the tournament to prepare for Bobby Huggins in West Virginia, I don't want to play them. And if you have 4 days, they're proven this year, you don't want to play them. So that is why 50 coaches across the country have nominated the Mountaineers as the fear of March Madness.
And I will say this, since you're sitting next to me, the second most feared team, the Villanova Wildcats.
Well, you know, when you're defending champion, you're always feared. You know that, being a Syracuse great yourself, Rich.
There's a one and done for West Virginia. And Kavar Shepard into the game, grabs the rebound. Here's Shepard in the paint. Left hand, no. And a scramble for the loose ball, and TCU comes away with it.
Boy, I love Williams as a rebounder.
And Fisher turns it over. That's the first turnover of the afternoon. Did they convert it into points? Well, Brandon Watkins will go to the line and try and do just that.
Second team foul against TCU. I'll send Brandon Watkins to the line for the Mountaineers with 2 shots.
Number 20, Brandon Watkins, a 6'9" junior out of Decatur. Averaging just 5.3 points a game. But he's going to see more floor time this afternoon, especially with Issa Ahmad out for today and likely out in their next game when they travel to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears as well.
How about talking to Hugs before the game? He's happy to have the bus ride down to Waco because he's going to stop at a steak joint after the game.
Vintage Bob Huggins, right? He tried to couch it like, I'm going to treat the team to
the boys
a steak
deserve
dinner.
it, Rich. The boys deserve it. It's the end of the long year. This is a great way to beat the press. Over the top.
Brandon Parrish can't finish, but gets fouled and will go to the line. And we watched in practice yesterday. That's what Jamie Dixon calls touchdown.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to beat this press. You want to get the ball inbounds. It sounds simple, but usually most teams want to run the baseline. The other way is over the top. And touchdown Tommy Brady. Throw it over the top. You need the athletes on both sides, but that is the easiest way for Coach Huggins to say, whoa, okay, maybe don't deny the inbounds pass every time.
This is a Horned Frogs team that's lost their last 4 ball games, but they are 13-4 at home. And what an historic year it's been in Jamie Dixon's first year here in Fort Worth. Their first sweep of Texas in 30 years, their first win against Iowa State in 20 years, and their first win at Kansas State in 18 years.
Well, you saw a little bit in the pregame. To say Jamie Dixon is intense, right, would mean that's the most understatement of the year. Jamie in practice yesterday was in a defensive stance for an hour and a half, and it is contagious.
Nice take under the hoop by Lamont West, but he comes up empty. An early 9-7 West Virginia lead, but TCU could take the lead or tie it up with a bucket. Here's Parrish. They wave it off, and we're going the other way.
That's a great call. I was watching that. Shepard set a screen, which appeared to be a great screen to allow Brandon Parrish to get to his favorite corner 3 spot, but he moved on the screen. You have to stay still. It's enough just to brush screen, Rich. You don't have to be an offensive lineman and really stop the defender to get out there. The key against West Virginia is you have to get up on the ball. Ball pressure, because they run a motion offense and move the men better, if not as well as the ball.
Here's Carter, the veteran working on the freshman. 3 to shoot. Adrian's going to have to hoist. The step back from the baseline is good. And Nathan Adrian's got his first 2 points of the game in his 132nd game in the Gold and Blue.
Well, the senior from Morgantown High School putting a little step back. That was on Larry Bird. That wasn't in his repertoire 2 years ago, Rich. Good job by Shepard getting away from that screen. Robinson waved them off. You do not want to bring a high ball screen against West Virginia. They will trap you immediately.
Parrish has missed all 3 of those baseline jumpers he's attempted this afternoon.
Both these coaches know that in order to win games in this conference, you have to make shots. And TCU has come out cold this afternoon. Good job by Robinson pushing immediately up on Lamont West, who was coming up a career high, knocking down jumpers like they were just going out of style Monday against Texas.
Carter way off the mark. Desmond Bain checked into the game, another freshman for Jamie Dixon. He grabbed the rebound.
Deflections. Coach Huggins wants 40 deflections a game, and Javon Carter leads the team in that category.
They're averaging 35 deflections a game in Big 12 play.
Yeah, if they get to 40, it's usually a win.
There's a tip ball, one of those deflections you just talked about, but Sagaba Kanate almost lost it out of bounds, and it's a turnover for West Virginia. Robinson, high off the glass, no. Loose ball, and another 50-50 ball goes to the Horned Frogs, and Desmond Bain will have a chance.
It's a great example why Nathan Adrian is absolutely the glue of this team. Chaotic sequence. Everybody trying to out-athletic the next guy, and then when TCU finally gets the ball, Adrian did a great job originally, as you saw, with verticality, jumping while inside the restricted arc. But once this all settles down, he just firmly gets outside, charged. Well done by the senior.
A little bit of uneven play to start this first half. 7.5 minutes in. It's an 11-7 West Virginia lead.
I like the substitute of getting Brodzianski back in the game because they have been getting touches and he can convert.
Tavon Myers goes off the window, and it's the largest lead of the early going for the Mountaineers.
Banks apparently haven't closed yet here in the afternoon in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of those already. Robinson has some freedom. The left-hander, it was on the mark, but just a little short.
You look at Robinson's frustration. He knows he should have made that shot, Rich, but he didn't.
13-7, TCU in must-win mode, trailing at home to the 12th-ranked Mountaineers.
ACC games, guys.
Back inside Schollmeyer Arena alongside Mark Plansky, I'm Rich Hollenberg. TCU, 4 turnovers on their last 6 possessions. Not the kind of start Jamie Dixon wanted in must-win mode. Here's a look at the Horned Frogs' resume. What do you think about it?
Well, quality win is always Iowa State. Illinois State is a very good team. That is an exact quality win. This is it. I mean, you have to beat West Virginia. TCU is, again, we mentioned, on ESPN on Saturday, on the last weekend in February. Okay, check the box. Did not expect to be here if you're a player in that locker room in September. You know what? The opportunity is right in front of you. As Coach Dixon said, let's go take it. So they're nervous. They're absolutely playing with a little bit of anxiety. And once they get sweating and get hitting people, they'll knock down some shots.
Frogs just 18% from the field in the opening minutes of this contest. Conversely, West Virginia 5 for 10 from the field and 1 for 3 beyond the arc.
You know, folks, for those of you that have played high school basketball and maybe college basketball off camera, when you get the bright lights of ESPN, I remember when I played against Chris Mullen in St. John's. For 5 minutes, I had cotton mouth, Rich. I couldn't breathe. It's Chris Mullen in St. John's. And then 5 minutes later, I'm telling myself, what am I doing? Just go out and play. And TCU will come back to norm, but it is their biggest game of their career.
There's 25 in blue, Maciej Bender seeing his first action. Big man out of Poland. And they tried to get it down low to him, and they turned it over. That's the 3rd Mountaineers turnover.
You know, other than the bank 3 by Myers, West Virginia dumping the ball down low, which is exactly what they should be doing. Credit TCU for playing just good defensive post defense.
And now Mike Williams, number 2 in white, checks in, a seldom used guard. So Jamie Dixon trying to keep his players fresh, obviously, against West Virginia.
To get everybody's nerves through the blender one time and then get them back in there, have a little bit of a conversation, a teaching moment on the bench. Okay, we good? Get back in there and play.
Tip ball goes out of bounds, so instead of under their West Virginia basket, Kenrich Williams will inbounds from the sideline.
Oh, the magic man, Bender. Look how big he is. I mean, where does Bobby get all these guys? I mean, he has played better and better, and apparently, according to the coaching staff, Bender can really knock down the threes, hits them all in practice, Rich, but leads the Big 12 in air balls in games, so he's got to work that out.
Pressure from Miles. Robinson frees himself. And the foul on the floor called by John Higgins. That's going to go on Daxter Miles.
That foul is on number 4, Daxter Miles. That would be his first personal foul, 4th team foul.
Alex Robinson, 6'3", 190-pound junior from right here in Fort Worth, Texas. He transferred over from A&M after a year because he wanted to play where his mom played, and she was a darn good player. Darla played here at TCU in the early 80s, around the same time that Jamie Dixon was leading the Horned Frogs men's program.
And I know he is so excited to play for Jamie Dixon. I love Robinson's game. He reminds me of the great San Antonio Spur, Manu Ginobili, because of his craftiness, and he loves to pass. You know, he is averaging 5.5 assists a game, so his head is always up.
We'll have more on that later.
You taught me that at Syracuse State training. That's called the tease, I think. You got to get it to him. Great job posting up.
Here's Brodzianski, 10th in the conference in scoring, and he can't get the bucket there.
Jamie Dixon right in front of us. Loved it. Keep taking it down low.
Tonight on ESPN, the Big 12 and Pac-12 cap off a full day of hoops at 6 Eastern. 3rd-ranked Kansas is in Austin to take on Texas. Then it's out to the West Coast, number 5 UCLA and number 4 Arizona. That's going to be a pair of good games. Kansas coming off their win earlier in the week that secured their 13th straight Big 12 title.
That was outstanding. Brodzianski didn't even try to jump up and get the rebound. He felt a little bit of pressure and jumped into the 3rd row. I mean, when you talk about selling a call, that was outstanding.
West is going to go to the bench. Adrian will check in for him.
That's what you learn overseas in Europe when you play against the strong guys, Rich. You know, like, wait a second, why beat him with my muscle when I can just fake it and let the referees think, that had to be a foul.
TCU needs a bucket. They're 0 for their last 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
But they've been getting the ball to the paint. I mean, it's not like they're missing jump shots. They've, you know, down low post moves, drives to the paint. They're just not converting.
Jamie Dixon calling for motion from his team, not getting it there. It's tied up, and it's going to stay TCU basketball.
The fans are booing, but that's a great bailout for Jamie Dixon's TCU Horned Frogs, because that was going to be an empty possession. Now they get to reboot, get a fresh possession, 10 seconds on the shot clock, and try to make a nice pass and get a good shot.
And how about number 14, Chase Harler, getting some early playing time from Bob Huggins. Seldom used freshman from out of Moundsville, West Virginia.
Well, Hugs is simple. You want to play for Coach Huggins, play hard. You don't play hard, sit down.
Fisher turned it over, got it right back, and it's blocked by Bender. And they're going to call it. Wow, a bad possession for TCU when they had a couple of real good looks at the basket.
Talking about playing hard, the Magic Man. I mean, this is all but an easy, uncontested layup. Look where he comes from. 2 big steps in an effort to block the shot. I guarantee you that Bender stays in the game for a couple more minutes. That was outstanding.
And the ball, courtesy of that block, never touched the rim, hence the shot clock violation.
Well, when you go 12 deep like West Virginia, you're competing against everybody in practice for minutes.
Another scramble for the ball. Carter comes away with it amongst the trees.
That's why they're such a great offensive rebounding team, Rich, because they don't care about getting back, because if they miss, they press off a miss. So you've got 5 guys attacking the offensive glass.
Bender getting a hand in there, almost turning it over. Williams, they want him to be more aggressive on the offensive end. He missed that shot, and a foul's called.
You're exactly right. Dixon told us yesterday that we want him to be as offensively minded with the ball as he is without the ball. Without the ball, he's one of the best offensive rebounders, as you just saw. But he has the skill. That was a nice-looking shot. It's all from the neck up. As soon as Kendrick realizes that he can score 15-20 in this conference, he will.
As it is, Kenrich Williams comes into the game close to averaging a double-double, 9.9 points, 9.2 rebounds a game overall. And he's tied for the lead with 10 double-doubles in conference play. That's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And he's got, you know, the bar is so much higher than his current play. He's got a great upside.
Here's Williams in the corner.
TCU really worked on that baseline out of bounds play yesterday at practice.
Bodies all over the place, and West Virginia comes away with it. Carter, and the foul called on Robinson. It just feels like with this type of physicality, this is a West Virginia type of a game so far.
You nailed it, partner. I was thinking the same thing. When you play against West Virginia with all these fresh bodies and the way they come at you, they expect a foul to be called. That's how aggressively they come at you. The referees are as nervous as TCU, by the way. I mean, when you play West Virginia, you're full of anxiety. When you play Bob Huggins and you coach and ref against him, you're full of anxiety. And sometimes that, you know, shows itself in no calls.
Javon Carter, the 6'2 junior out of Maywood, Illinois, knocks down his first free throw of the day, 76% free throw shooter. And Bob Huggins, you talk about high praise, says Javon Carter might be the best on-ball defender that he's ever coached.
Well, I tell you, we're talking about the Wooden Watch and the best guards in this country, led by Frank Mason. This kid's only a junior. There is no doubt he will be on that list next year.
He goes 1 for 2, but it extends the West Virginia lead to 16-7. And Williams basically just threw that one out of bounds. Washburn couldn't get it. It's the 7th Horned Frogs turnover.
And turnovers against West Virginia come more when the guy handling the ball is not used to handling the ball. Williams carried that all the way up the court, had one dribble dunk to finish, but he got to the foul line and said, what am I doing? I have to pass. And that's what West Virginia does. It makes you uncomfortable with the basketball.
Here's Miles, a little bit of a mismatch guarded by Williams on the wing. Harlow threw it away. Williams takes it right to the hoop.
And there you go. There's a smart basketball player. Coach Dixon told us he had a high basketball IQ. He realized he made the mistake in the last possession, right to the rim this time around.
That's why they call him Kenny Hustle. Carter falling down, hits the floater.
How about splitting the high ball screen? I mean, that looked like CP3 out in front of us. What a great job with the ball, Javon Carter.
Javon Carter now 20 points shy of 1,000. Now we're under 8 minutes in the first half. They needed that one.
He needed that one. He came up right in front of us, and I could tell the look on Fisher's face. He was nervous again, handling the ball against his trap. And credit the young freshman when he caught it. His feet were underneath him in rhythm, knocked down the deep three.
And this is the first time in the game that the crowd's had a chance to get into it.
The first time you see this West Virginia team, like we touched on in March, for the opposing teams, the fans can't understand what's going on as well.
Here's Harlan.
Wow, what a rebound. Just the right place, right time, right rhythm.
Williams now has 5 rebounds, and the foul's called at the other end. We have a timeout on the floor from the Big 12. We go back in time to the Big East and the backyard brawl between Bob Huggins and Jamie Dixon. One of the great rivalries in college basketball was the backyard brawl, Pitt against West Virginia. I asked both coaches what their favorite memories were when Jamie Dixon was coaching at Pitt. He said back in February 7th of 2008, they beat West Virginia with Ronald Ramon's game-winning buzzer beater 3. They won 55-54. To be fair, Bob Huggins has some memories of his own. You go back to the 2009 Big East Tournament quarterfinals at MSG. They had lost to second-ranked Pitt twice in the regular season, came back in that tournament to go on and upset the Pitt Panthers by a score of 74-60. Pitt, ironically, made it to the Elite 8 that year. The final year after that, West Virginia went to the Final Four, but both of these coaches certainly know each other extremely well from those days.
Extremely well, and that was a great 08-09 Pittsburgh team. Sam Young, DeJohn Blair, LaVance Fields at the guard. I mean, you're talking about DeJohn Butler and the freshman, KJ, Kevin Jones for West Virginia. That was probably that was Jamie's best Pittsburgh team. And had it not been for maybe the best ever last second NCAA coast to coast by Scotty Reynolds, only to be outdone this year by Archie Diacono and Chris Jenkins, they would have been in the Final Four in 09.
As a postscript, I will say you buried the lead. Journalism students will know what I'm talking about. Bob Huggins in a suit, Mark Plansky. We saw Bob Huggins in a suit in that flashback. And the good news is for basketball fans, they've renewed that backyard brawl rivalry. They'll play the next 4 years. Which
is great news because the fans, Pittsburgh and West Virginia, absolutely love that rivalry. You know, Hugs told us his grandfather's Italian, so that made sense with the whole outfit, the suit and the tie.
Yeah, we asked him about that game. The first thing he said was, yeah, I looked good that day, didn't I?
Another deflection by Myers out front of this press. You know, Williams just let that go out of bounds, but just so hyped up to grab the ball and try to attack the pressure, he just mistakenly got his hands on it.
Look at that, side by side. A dapper Bob Huggins on the right. He's foregone the suit and tie for the pullover that he's now famous for. Something tells me he's not going back to the suit and tie anytime soon.
Ever.
Here's Adrian, 11 working on 11. And Williams, another rebound. Kenrich Williams already has 5 rebounds this afternoon.
Nice job.
They handle the pressure. Robinson will go to the free throw line.
And it was a nice job by Kenrich Williams to get it back to Alex Robinson.
That was on number 45, Elijah Bacon.
Not so much in the opening moments, but now this TCU team is starting to look a little bit more like a team that really wants to get to March.
The sweat's flowing, the nerves are done, and Alex Robinson doing a great Manu Ginobili impersonation right there, going the length of the court with a straight line drive.
He knocks down the first. Well, you said it, let's see it.
Loves to go to his left. He always sets up going strong with his left, with his right, and of course has lasted in the NBA as long as he has. But look at this. They look a lot alike. Get me back to my left hand and let me finish strong.
Wait, so you're saying Manu grew up in Fort Worth, Texas? I thought he was from Europe.
He wanted to grow up in Fort Worth, Texas. Guarantee you.
Alex Robinson and Jalen Fisher, a freshman and a junior, are going to be one of the top backcourts in the Big 12 next season.
Oh, without question. I mean, they didn't sign up for Jamie Dixon. They're ecstatic they got Jamie Dixon.
Pat Adams calling the foul. It's going to go on Washburn. Chris Washburn second. Now TCU will go to the free throw line. So far this afternoon, they are 3 for 4 from the stripe as a team. they shoot it at a 68% clip. And it's been an issue, especially in late game situations. This TCU team has not converted from the stripe. We asked Bob about that. He said, I make my team make 100 free throws every single day.
Make 100 a day. Great job by Williams again, getting to the open spot for the release pass.
That shot off the mark. Another rebound by Williams. Fisher all alone.
Count it.
Three.
Oh, I told you, partner. It's like a mulligan in golf. He missed the first one. Like, wait, I know the read. I know the pace. Boom! And he's all fired up.
Jalen Fisher leads all scorers with 11.
Nothing like picking your defense up with a made three.
And Tariq Phillips stepped on the baseline. Another West Virginia turnover. That's their 5th this afternoon.
Boy, and credit the young freshman Jalen Fisher. Not only does he knock down the three that brings the house to the feet, but then he creates the defensive slide and forces the turnover in zero emotion, as if he's been here before. He is really fastly becoming a sophomore his freshman year.
West Virginia up by only 3 now. What's cued TCU's comeback?
Well, knocking down shots, but the shots have been open because of Williams' ability to get to the offensive glass.
Jamie Dixon wanted the foul, but he'll get the hoop instead.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going to tell everybody to start calling this kid Manu. Getting to the rim with great vertical and finish.
Here's Myers in the paint. And Shepard, surrounded by Mountaineers, still gets it out to his guards. Fisher lost it, saved by Bain. Picked off by Myers. Little step through, and Tavon Myers does his best Manu impression there.
I love Tavon Myers. He's the best personality on this Mountaineer team without question.
Anytime you could nickname yourself Tay Dollar and back it up, you know you got a good personality.
There's a lot of New York in that Brooklyn, New York native. Here's Alex Robinson taking it strong, creating the contact, and then the Manu lookalike with the Euro step from Brooklyn.
So I guess you can say Myers and Robinson are going Manu. You see what I did there, right? You see what I did there?
I'm picking up what you're putting down, partner.
Carter hesitated and still hit from just inside the three-point line. Javon Carter now has 10. And that's going to go on Carter, pressuring the ball on the inbounds. 3:45 to go. Still some fight left in these Horned Frogs trying to make it to March.
Action coming up to break. See you then.
Well, from Fort Worth, Texas, everybody's doing some, I guess it's not scoreboard watching, it's bracketology watching with Joe Lunardi. TCU needs this win. He has come out and said this weekend, if TCU loses this game, they will not be among the last 4 in. They will be among the first 4 out. Kansas State on the outside looking in right now. Joe Lunardi has 6 teams from the Big 12 as of right now going to the tournament. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, candidly, no. I think 7 should be in. You know, and I think everyone gets stuck on the 500 conference record that you need. But when you're talking about a Big 12 conference as good, I mean, it's always year after year #1 in RPI polls. You know, it's very hard to beat everybody. I mean, go to Fog Allen, that's a loss, right? I mean, so I think if you get 8 wins in this conference, you should go to the tournament.
Phillip, are they going to call it offensive? They don't. And Tariq Phillips going to go to the line and shoot 2. Kenrich Williams whistled for the foul.
Well, right, you could see it early on there, Rich. Fisher with the reach. I couldn't tell whether or not he was inside or outside the restricted area. He was definitely moving, so it doesn't matter. But you can't reach for the ball. You have to keep the guy with the ball in front of you. And then, while on balance, Rich, if the ball comes, you can get it. But don't reach first off balance, because every time you'll get beat up the dribble like Tariq Phillip just did to Jalen Fisher.
Mark, we talked about Tavon Myers from West Virginia being a Brooklyn guard. This Tariq Phillip is also a Brooklyn guard by way of junior college, a 6'3" senior, averaging 9.5 points a game, a 71% free throw shooter, but he knocks them both down. West Virginia back up 5, sets up their press.
And now West Virginia with 3 guards. In theory, it's a better pressing team because Adrian moves like a guard, so make it 4. Well, you could just tell who the freshmen are on the court against West Virginia, can't you? I mean, Desmond Bane does not want the basketball.
And he's doing an awful lot of dribbling, and that gets you into trouble against West Virginia. Now there's 5 to shoot. I don't know if they got it off. Pat Adams says no, shot clock violation. And Alex Robinson's letting Desmond Bane hear him. This week, our NBA Saturday primetime game presented by Verizon Wireless on ABC. Another matchup between best buddies. D-Wade and the Bulls in Cleveland to take on LeBron and the Cavs. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern. Jimmy Butler, at least last check, is still on the Chicago Bulls. There's a turnover. Let's see if they can capitalize. Oh! And that'll get Brandon Parrish's offense rolling.
With the left. I did not see that coming. Outstanding.
Brandon Parrish in his 110th game in a Horned Frogs uniform. That's 3rd all-time at TCU. A huge throwdown. Machi Bender, no. Bender under the basket. Can't get it a second time. A chance to tie with a 3 for TCU.
Jamie Dixon trying to call timeout. The referee reminding him, tell your players, they have to call it. But he got away with it. That was close.
And now they start their offense in a late shot clock. Robinson ties it up.
That's great coaching. That's just great coaching. Isn't it great? This is wonderful how this game ebbs and flows.
Phillip short on a spin move. Fisher comes away with it. And TCU has a chance to take the lead for the first time. Bane, no call. Mountaineers have numbers. Carter, left hand, no! And the iron has been unkind to both teams in the first half, under a minute to go.
How do you commentate organized chaos? You don't. You just let everybody watch because, folks, I don't know what just happened. Neither does Rich, but TCU has the ball. They've got 50 seconds left, and they're very much in this ball game.
Well, apparently the officials were watching as well.
Well
No
done,
fouls
Parker.
called.
Well done.
With 10 on the shot clock. Fisher comes up short.
And that's something for us to watch for in the second half. Jalen Fisher is exhausted because he and everyone else on this TCU Horned Frog team is not used to exerting that much effort.
38.7 left in the first half. Stick around, we got a good one.
We've got some pretty extraordinary fans at Domino's. That's why we created Piece of the Pie Rewards, a rewards program that's anything but ordinary. You can earn a free pizza after just 6 online orders of $10 or more. Some folks will even have a chance to get 10 shares of Domino's stock or $10,000 in store profits. Learn how to get your piece of the pie at Domino's.com.
Welcome back. 38 seconds to go, Rich. What a great game in Fort Worth. First, we've got the senior, Brandon Parrish, in stride with the finish. And then the sophomore, first-year player, Alex Robinson, under control, knocking down the corner three, and we've got ourselves a tied ball game. Outstanding.
And that is what brought TCU back. They've trailed this entire first half, but now with 38 seconds left and about a 7-second differential on the shot clock, a defensive stop, and they'll have a chance to go to the locker room with the lead.
West Virginia likes an inside out on these last possessions. They want to get the high ball screen. They'll look to dump it down, and then an additional pass. They've got 3 good perimeter shooters in the game right now.
7 on the clock. There's inside.
Great defense. Avery was looking for that weak side pass to Myers, who was spotted up, and there was excellent double team by TCU.
So 12.1 to go, and now another timeout is called on the floor. We watch TCU practice late game, late half situations. What does Jamie Dixon like to call in a situation like this?
12 seconds, Rich. Yesterday, as you recall, they practiced a lot of 5- and 6-second possessions. So I think right now, with 12 seconds, the number one thing to do is get the ball in bounds and attack, because here comes the press. Because 12 seconds is long enough for Huggins to be diagramming an offensive play, because he assumes to get the ball on the first pass with a steal. So I think what Jamie Dixon is telling his guys right here is get the ball in secure. We have plenty of time, and then continue to do what they've done well all first half. Get to the rim. Maybe a kick out for a 3, but get to the rim.
You mentioned how Jalen Fisher looks exhausted. He has good reason to be exhausted. 13 points in the first half.
Yeah, he's played outstanding. And of course, as the point guard, he has the ball and is responsible for handling this pressure. But this is what he does best, and everybody around the Big 12 says, wow, what a great shooter. I couldn't believe what Jamie told us yesterday, that he came in an okay 3-point shooter. Now he has really worked on that part of his game.
Frogs are going to have to go the full 94 in 12.1 seconds. And you see 4 out of the 5 Mountaineers at half quarter behind it.
Because they got beat with that touchdown play earlier. Good coaching by both guys.
Brodzianski is in for the final 10 seconds. Here's Bain. Got it! And Desmond Bain, who has looked like a deer in headlights for most of the first half, knocks down what could be the biggest shot of the first half as time runs out. A big 3 by the freshman out of Richmond, Indiana.
It is amazing what happens when you turn the brain off and let the play just let it go. I can play. I'm a big-time player. Outstanding. Way to go.
TCU ends the first half on an 8-0 run on Desmond Bain's first points of the afternoon, and it is their first lead of the game. The Frogs, 14-1 this season when they lead at the half. Now let's send you to the studio at Doug Kazarian. Final week in February in conference play means it's crunch time for these TCU Horned Frogs and the West Virginia Mountaineers, coming to you from inside Schollmeyer Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, where TCU has used an 8-0 run to end the half to take their first lead of the game, 30-27, over the 12th-ranked Mountaineers. Alongside Mark Plansky, I'm Rich Hollenberg. The narrative all season in this league has been the best guards reside in the Big 12, and we've been treated to just that this afternoon here.
How much fun has it been watching courtside some of the elite guards in the country, and we're not being disappointed. Javon Carter, the junior for West Virginia, has gotten himself into the mid-range. 10 points in the first half. What a great job splitting the trap. Boy, on the other side, Jalen Fisher, the freshman, handling the ball against the pressure. 3 for 4 from downtown. 13 first half points, all from the perimeter. And his backcourt mate, first-year player, sophomore Manu Robinson, his real name's Alex, loves to get to the rim and not afraid of this West Virginia defense at all.
TCU shot miserably to start the half, but 5 for 10 from 3, and credit the Horned Frogs for their work on the glass. They're out-rebounding West Virginia 21-12. The Mountaineers start off with the ball in the second half.
6-3 on the offensive rebounds, which is always West Virginia's strength.
Well, what's at stake for these Horned Frogs? It's simple. According to Joe Lunardi, they win this game and they're in the tournament. They lose and they're on the outside looking in.
Just a great example of the offensive prowess on the glass by Nathan Adrian. Just never gave up. Great block by Brodzianski. But Nathan Adrian just followed the ball, got it back, and got it to his senior front court or backcourt mate, Phillip, who did a great job falling out of bounds, making the ref call the foul.
Adrian flashes middle and beats Parrish to the spot. Nathan Adrian, first bucket of the second half, he has 7.
And when they score, they press. A good job by Williams running the baseline, getting the ball inbounds. You talk about this West Virginia team. A week ago Monday, they had that devastating loss against Kansas, but that's the type of loss that you can draw from. And in the halftime, I guarantee you Huggins said that.
Great look from Brodzianski to Kenrich Williams, who lost it going up. Wanted to throw that down with 2 hands. Instead, it ends up being a layup.
I tell you what, folks, watch number 34 in white and watch number 11 in blue. They never stop moving. Williams and Adrian.
Blocked by Brodzianski. And good to see Vlad Brodzianski get involved on both ends of the floor. He was held scoreless in the first half, Mark.
Well, he's well rested. He had 9 minutes, Rich. I mean, there's no excuse. He better have healthy and strong legs, and he's got 2 blocked shots in the first 2 minutes.
And he's the leading scorer for Jamie Dixon's team, 13.6 a game.
With a mismatch, Robinson on Adrian.
Adrian spins off the window and no shot, says John Higgins.
Adrian recognized that mismatch immediately. When Javon Carter didn't give him the ball on the perimeter at the first time, he made sure when it reversed, he got it.
That's going to be the second foul on Robinson. Good follow off the offensive rebound by Elijah Macon. This is a pick-your-poison type of a West Virginia team. 7 different players have led them in scoring in Big 12 play. And there's a follow.
I just love his instincts around the glass. I mean, you cannot teach what Kenrich Williams has. And all of it really revolves around effort.
6 points, 7 rebounds for Kenny Hustle. And the block by Robinson tried to sell it that it's Frog's ball. It'll stay with the Mountaineers. 18 on the shot clock.
I'll tell you, the second time Williams has got to the rim at the right place, right time, and elevating up and over. You've got to put a body on him, Rich. How can you not block out number 34?
Brandon Parrish gets whistled for his 3rd personal foul. Nathan Adrian will go to the line and shoot.
You mentioned the backyard brawl that these two participated in for years, and they're going to resurrect the challenge between Jamie Dixon and Bobby Huggins. No 2 coaches in college basketball work the referees better than these 2 guys. I mean, we're sitting closer to Jamie, but the referees spend more time talking to the coaches than they do to each other when these 2 guys are coaching.
9 for Adrian is at the head of Press Virginia once again. And this time a foul is going to be called on Tariq Phillip.
But that foul call was set up by Williams running the baseline. If you do not run the baselines, Phillip gets the angle. And of course, there's Coach Huggins working the next call, letting the referee know that I don't think that was a foul. You owe me one.
And I was doing some lip reading, and it's PG for Bob Huggins. He was telling Tariq Phillip, hold your hands out. They won't call that foul if you hold your hands out. That foul's going to go on Elijah Macon. And that's the 3rd on the big man for the Mountaineers. So immediately, Brandon Watkins off the bench.
Somebody got in the ear of Brodzianski at halftime, Rich. No doubt about it. Effort has been just basically there where he was sleeping in the first half. And you're talking about a really talented kid on the offensive side. His footwork and his hands as good as they get in the Big 12.
And congratulations to Vlad. He was just announced first-team academic All-Big 12. Psychology major, a 3.2 GPA, doing it in the classroom. Now Jamie Dixon needs to see him do it on the floor. TCU, the 1-point lead. They led by 3 at the break. They win. And according to Joe Lunardi, they are in the field of 68. Robinson, the floater, no good. Weak side rebound to Carter.
Well, he has gotten to the paint and to the rim all afternoon. He's only converting about 30-40% of them, but he gets by everybody off the bounce.
Adrian, mismatch on the size with Robinson guarding him, but he lost it. And the traveling violation called on Nathan Adrian. You take a look at your Big 8 or Big 12 top 8 right now, and according to Lunardi right now, only these top 6 are in. What say you about Kansas State, TCU, and Texas Tech, Mark?
I think 2 of the 3 will get in. How about that? This is my prediction. Now, I think 5-10 doesn't look good in conference play, but that Texas Tech team has lost games, what, by no more than 4 points? I mean, 5 of those 10 losses by 1 possession. I don't know if you don't take that into consideration, but I would.
Williams, aggressive, and the foul's called. And Nathan Adrian can't believe it, but he better believe it because Kenrich Williams is going to the line shooting 3 fouls on Brandon Watkins.
And one of those teams that we just talked about, Bruce Weber's Kansas State club, got this West Virginia team in big-time front-court foul trouble when they beat them at home in Manhattan. So that is definitely a strategy that Coach Dixon wants to employ. I mean, there's plenty of guys, as you see the freshman Kanadi come in, but Adrian cannot come off this floor. He needs to play for West Virginia.
And obviously there's 2 more Big 12 games to play and the tournament before we get to really see what happens on Selection Sunday. But it's interesting to note, TCU's next game is here against Kansas State.
A big one, obviously.
Yeah, beat them earlier in the season in overtime.
Cannot leave your feet against West Virginia defense. Fisher will learn that, but you cannot do that.
And Robinson's going to be called for the foul. And that's the 3rd on the starting guard. They can't afford to lose Alex Robinson on the floor.
No, not at all. And the incredulous look on his face matches the tone in Jamie Dixon's voice right in front of us. He is saying to himself and to the coach, I'm getting grabbed all afternoon long here. You cannot possibly call that foul on me.
I'll mark this time down, Mark Plansky, 16:35. You're really marking it down. Good for you. 16:35 to go. Michael Williams has to check in and log some court time along with Desmond Bain, the freshman, for Jamie Dixon. Could be a time for a West Virginia run. Kanate knocks down the jumper. Sagaba Kanate, his first 2 of the afternoon. He had 13 and 8 last time these 2 teams met.
Well, you called it. Michael Williams, first time against this press, had no idea how to get the ball against Tariq Phillip. Fisher bailing him out. But again, Williams doing a great job on the baseline, running to get the pass in.
Tied at 35, nearly 4 minutes gone by. Brodzianski with the left hand.
He's a different player. He really called for that ball and skillfully went to the left hand with a little jump hook.
Vlad Brodzianski averaging close to 16 points and over 6 boards a game in conference play, and Bob Huggins wants to talk it over. Well, Alex Robinson goes out, and Vlad Brodzianski goes to work. TCU up 2. With revenge on their minds, a Sonic blockbuster to end the ACC regular season next Saturday at 8:15 Eastern. Mark, you might make the case that Duke is the hottest team in the nation, not named Gonzaga.
Oh, without question. And how good has Luke Kennard been all season long? I mean, you talked about the wooden watch, and I think because of all the fanfare of the incoming freshmen, people that do not watch ACC all year long, he has probably had the most consistent, highest level elite performance of anybody in the country.
Justin Jackson's also going to get some mention. It is ACC Player of the Year for sure. And maybe the only thing hurting Luke Kennard's chances is that Jason Tatum, the freshman big man for the Blue Devils, has really come on strong lately. 15:33 to go. We have another timeout on the floor with the TCU Horned Frogs up by 2 against the Mountaineers. Tonight on ESPN, the Big 12 and Pac-12 cap off our full day of college hoops. First, it's 3rd-ranked Kansas and Austin to take on Texas. Then it's out to the McHale Center in Tucson for number 5 UCLA and number 4 Arizona. Back-to-back terrific games in the Big 12 and then the Pac-12. And those 2 games feature players rife with candidacy for the Wendy's Wooden Watch. Here's a look. Frank Mason, Lonzo Ball, Lauri Markkanen.
Hey, who let the senior on that graphic? Frank Mason having an unbelievable job. He's my pick for Player of the Year without question.
Kanate has his 2nd bucket. Nice out of timeout call by Bob Huggins.
Boy, and Jamie Dixon was all over how to cover the out-of-bounds plays last night. They need a passer like low ball to get the ball in on the out-of-bounds plays.
So we saw those names. Do you have a favorite for Player of the Year?
I do like Frank Mason. I think if you've watched Kansas all year, he has just been absolutely the guy to run the show there. But how about Markkanen, the Finn? I mean, he is just presenting an unbelievable mismatch. 7-foot, three-point shooting machine. Speaking of three-point shooting, the Bain freshman. Nothing but that. That'll be nothing but confidence.
He came into this contest 7 for his last 12 field goals, and he's continued some hot shooting. 2 big threes by Desmond Bain.
Good job by Dixon putting Parrish now on Nathan Adrian.
Adrian muscles it up.
You can't play defense any better than that.
11 points for Adrian. The foul's going to go on Konate. And Konate looks over with his palms upraised at his fellow big man Elijah Bacon, who's taken his place on the floor. Macon looked at him and said, "Zip your lip, buddy. Can't afford a technical foul at this point."
Well, you see Huggs grabbing the young freshman with the big body. He got beat by the senior. Chris Washburn running down the court, took the contact, and flailed at half court right in front of the referee for the foul.
Now Michael Williams trying to bring it up against the press Virginia pressure, and he's double teamed at half court and nearly turned it over, but they're going to get Javon Carter with the foul.
Well, Michael Williams, you mentioned, partner, didn't play at all in the first half, so let's pass the baton of the deer in the headlights to Michael Williams, and he got bailed out with the call. Maybe a reach that was not necessary, but they had him dead to rights.
That's the second Mountaineer with 3 fouls. Watkins and now Macon both have 3. And for TCU, Alex Robinson, Kenrich Williams both have 3, along with Brandon Parrish. Something to keep an eye on. TCU has been shooting it progressively better as this game has worn on. It's usually the opposite effect when you play West Virginia.
Well, true, absolutely. That's usually how the opponents, the story unfolds itself. But I think it's more the anxiety, the anxiousness of this team, knowing it's so big. Now they're confident they're just playing another game, not the biggest game of their lives. And as long as Dixon can have Williams, the guard, in the game and try to steal some time until he gets Robinson back in.
Bad pass from Bain leads to the dunk in transition by Elijah Macon. And that gives West Virginia back the lead at 41-40.
I was about to say great substitution by Huggins, getting Lamont West in there to knock down some threes. But hey, if you're a great athlete, the 6'8" freshman is certainly a great athlete, and run the floor because he does it all practice all year long against some of the great athletes in the country. Well, then you have the ability to finish. Phillips showing his defensive savvy, getting in the passing lane, but how about explosion?
I gave that dunk to Elijah Macon. I apologize. It was Lamont West, and he's really been coming on offensively for the Mountaineers.
Well, the reason why I mentioned the attacking the rim, you've watched these guys practice. When you have 12 guys that compete for playing time and 12 guys play when the lights go on in games, the practices are outstanding. Most practices in late February are walkthrough practices. Huggs told us yesterday that it was the crispest, best practice they've had in weeks. And I said, what makes that happen? He said they went after each other, Mark. They made shots because they beat each other up. There's not another team in the country that can say that.
And now West, fresh off the dunk, is at the head of the West Virginia press, and they turn it over. 15th turnover for TCU. Adrian. No. And Alex Robinson playing with 3 fouls, 13:36 to go, back on the floor. So is Fisher. Misses that 3-ball attempt. And Pat Adams right in front of us calls the foul on Chris Washburn. Great effort by the big man from TCU.
That foul was a combination of Javon Carter being an upperclassman and an experienced player, and Coach Bob Huggins beating the ref verbally for the next 2 minutes. Now there was contact, but what a nice little acting job there at the end. And I'm going to give this one down here because I'm 90 feet away from Huggs. He can't yell at me.
Now West pulls from 3, no good. Ball goes out of bounds. And Higgins and Adams confer, and they'll say it's TCU basketball. Well, West Virginia certainly had its fair share of close contests in Big 12 play. They're 1-3 in 4 overtime games this season in the Big 12.
And can't you say that about every team in the Big 12 this year? As far as not 1-3, but last possession games, there's been so many. It's the common denominator of this conference.
Unbelievable. At last check, it was something like 70% of the games have been decided by single digits.
And that's because every coach in this league, I mean, what, 5 of them, half of them been to the Final Four? They know how to make adjustments. They know what to do. They know how to collapse the game into a one-possession game better than most across the country.
7 minutes gone by, second half. We got a good one from Fort Worth. 12th ranked West Virginia up by 1. TCU battling for their postseason lives. And Kenrich Williams puts them back on top.
Well, Williams got 3 or 4 minutes rest. Excellent job by Jamie Dixon working the rotation. Fresh legs, 25-foot jump shot, but early we mentioned he didn't shoot with confidence. Right up with confidence.
Make it answers with a dunk.
Just miscommunication on a high ball screen. Nobody picking up the excellent slip by Elijah Macon for the dunk.
Tied at 43. Parrish loves that corner, but it hasn't loved him back.
Well, I'm looking out here, Rich, and I'm looking at a couple of guys with the white uniforms are tired.
Macon got the tip in and the foul. Big offensive putback by Elijah Macon, the junior out of Columbus.
And where does fatigue show its face? Missed shots and offensive rebounding is all about effort. First Nathan Adrian and then Macon with the tap in. The TCU Horned Frogs did not beat West Virginia down the court in transition. Part of that's because the 3 went up from the corner, but a bigger part is because this press is beginning to wear them down physically as much as it does mentally.
Back and forth we go. West Virginia up by 2. There have been 5 lead changes in this game so far. West Virginia led it for most of the first half before TCU took a 3-point lead with a buzzer-beating 3. Whew, clean block.
What a block.
Here's Myers. In and out. Another loose ball that West Virginia comes away with. Here's West, top of the key. And now West Virginia is just asserting itself on the rebounding edge, but Rodzianski comes away with the last one, and that's the most important one.
And then when Jamie Dixon sees this tape, he's going to know how lucky he is to not give up a basket. Nobody blocked out. They just all tried to out-jump each other. You cannot do that against West Virginia.
Left hand from Robinson's good, gives him double digits.
And you cannot give Alex Robinson the left. He gets to his strong hand as well as any guard in the country.
Five to shoot. Myers. Out of bounds, it's TCU basketball. 10:33 to go and a timeout on the floor. The Frogs haven't made the NCAA tournament since '98. They haven't won a game in the tournament since 1987. They're knocking on the door this year. Cannot wait to start punching some tickets to the big dance. Who has been waiting the longest to get their tickets punched? Well, one of the teams we're covering right now, the TCU Horned Frogs, haven't been to the tournament since 1988. But take a look at this, a historic year heading into March because the Northwestern Wildcats have never been there. They're projected it. TCU projected it. So are the Gamecocks and the Virginia Tech Hokies. All of these are among the most the longest waited teams to get into the NCAA tournament. Just a terrific field. They say the bubble is soft, Mark. I think it's going to make for a great tournament.
Oh, without question. And another reason it's going to be a great tournament, no knock on the mid-majors, but this is a singular year where the mid-majors are just noticeably absent. So you're going to have primary conference teams on the bubble battling each other. And then how about Chris Collins at Northwestern? That kid doesn't have to buy a lunch, a dinner, a breakfast at all in Chicago for the rest of his career.
Bain, another costly turnover. And they call it jump ball, and fortunately for TCU, it'll be Horned Frogs' possession. If you're just tuning in, West Virginia comfortably in the NCAA tournament, as you'd imagine. They're the number 12 team in the country. But more vital is the TCU standing. They are squarely on the cut line right now. Joe Lunardi's latest projections has them as one of the last teams in. If they lose today, he says, they're on the outside looking in. If they win today, Mark Plansky, it becomes their signature win of the season.
It does, and of course, we were talking earlier, Rich, off here. They still have to probably win one more game, here versus Kansas State or their final game in Norman against Lon Kruger in Oklahoma. But without question, this is the do-or-die game for TCU.
And they're going to call it jump ball, and it goes back to West Virginia.
There is a reason why junior guard Jabon Carter is in the tops of everyone in the country in steals. He moved his feet just as you and I teach our kids years and years ago. Look at him move his feet and then let the ball come to you. He didn't reach out for it. It just showed up and he caused the jump ball.
Here's West working on Bain. A couple of freshmen going at it. Adrian couldn't get the putback. West Virginia has dominated the offensive glass and second chance points in the second half. And TCU can't capitalize. A costly, unforced error that time.
This press at the absolute strangest time comes up and bites you. Kabar Shepard does an excellent job securing the ball, but then decides I'm going to play point guard. And then Press Virginia says, you have no idea what you're looking at. Throws the ball into the second row.
West Virginia has missed their last 7 shots despite getting many good looks at the basket.
Well, without question, halftime, Coach Huggins showed that rebounding problem that they had in the first half to his team.
Strong take by Carter. Javon Carter's first 2 of the second half gives him a dozen. West Virginia back up 2.
Well, Jamie Dixon has done an excellent job surviving the last 5 minutes with his subs against this pressure. Now he's got the guys in there who needs to be in there.
Blocked by Kanate. Carter. And a foul called underneath. That's going to go on Kenrich Williams. It's his 4th.
I don't think there's anybody in college basketball that gets more charged up blocking a shot than Sags Kanate. I mean, look at that. He attacks that. And then Carter just taking it strong. The cup. Hey, for you young guys, you want to get to the rim, don't ever expose the ball. Cup it in there. I mean, that's what D. Wade has taught, LeBron James for years, right? I think LeBron stole that from D. Wade from yesteryear.
Sagava Kanate, the 6'8" freshman from Mali. Misses the front end. We talked about West Virginia and their free throw shooting woes late in close games. We could be witnessing it again here in Fort Worth.
Yeah, the stat, is 5 minutes or less that people keep, but in their losses, they're hovering right around 50%. That's why they've lost the games.
Nice big-to-big passing. And Brodzianski has a chance at a 3-point play.
First of all, what an excellent lob entry pass. It was like a delayed slip of the screen. So there was enough air on the ball for Vladimir to get his hands on that. Great job by Williams. And then using the rim as a 4th defender with 3 Mountaineers coming after the block, getting himself to the foul line for the conventional 3-point play attempt.
The JUCO junior out of Slovakia, Vlad Brodzianski, started the season as the 3rd string big man and has ended up leading this team in scoring late in conference play.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the first chapter of the Jamie Dixon TCU novel looks nothing like the 20th chapter today. Got to keep your hands up. Move your feet, young man. Jalen Fisher, hands up. Learn from Javon Carter.
High hedge from Brodzianski. And Tavon Myers somehow got that one to go.
These guys from Brooklyn, they're tough, aren't they, Rich?
A seesaw battle this second half.
Much better job by Fisher breaking the press, recognizing where the open pass was and not being out of control. Playing in space.
10 to shoot. Fisher. He had a one-track mind on that drive.
Yeah, but it was a great job by Brodzianski with the slip screen that became a blocking screen. And Jalen Fisher under control. Deep breaths right to the rim. Well done.
6th lead change this half. Myers again, back-to-back buckets from the senior out of Brooklyn.
When you cover the ball, Rich, you have to keep him in front. Once you get to the side, a good player will finish all the time.
Robinson pulled the string on that one. It goes out of bounds, and we have a timeout on the floor with 7:06 to go. And 12th ranked West Virginia clinging to a 1-point lead against TCU, who is fighting to get off the bubble and stay in the tournament.
With West Virginia in second in the conference, guys.
Back here in Fort Worth, there have been 7 ties and 8 lead changes between the 12th ranked Mountaineers and the TCU Horned Frogs. Right now, West Virginia leads at 51-50. And tonight on ESPN, more Big 12 action followed by Pac-12 coming up. It's 6 Eastern, 3rd ranked Kansas taking on Texas. Then it's number 5 UCLA and number 4 Arizona. That's where our College Game Day was earlier this morning. Both games also streaming live on the ESPN app. Rich Hollenberg, Mark Plansky. A great one from Fort Worth inside Schollmeyer Arena.
And
TCU needing that win to get in the tournament, according to Joe Lunardi.
Sorry, partner, and a great deflection by Alex Robinson coming back into play, getting a possession, a well-needed extra possession, down 1.
Fisher almost lost it. Williams did lose it. And every possession with 6:37 to go becomes that much more magnified, Mark.
Well, especially with young players, Rich. Jalen Fisher's played an outstanding game. Much, much better than the first time in Morgantown. But young players over-excite themselves at the end of the games. And they haven't been in this position enough to understand how to make sure you win. You need to learn when you lose before you understand how to win.
A couple of veterans going at it here. Adrian, no good, and Robinson tracks it down.
How about Adrian trapping at half court off the almost turnover?
Fisher, he doesn't play like a freshman.
Stones? That was big time.
Macon gives it up to West. Nice pass from Elijah Macon to Lamont West.
Lamont West showing everyone he can score in the paint as well as he can score behind the arc. Great job, second time getting to the rim.
There's another deflection that turns into a turnover.
You have to make the open, simple pass against West Virginia. You cannot look to make the hard skip pass.
One and done. Big rebound by Kenrich Williams.
And now the second possession, Hugs has come out with a 1-3-1. Showing something different, and it's worked almost, yes, into 2 turnovers.
Phillip, tough shot.
Yeah, Jamie's pleading for Fisher to penetrate because he doesn't want West Virginia to set up in this 1-3-1. With Lamont West out front, look at the length he has. It's something they haven't seen all game long.
Brodzianski gives TCU back the lead with under 5 minutes to go.
And that's the weakness in the 1-3-1. Excellent job recognizing the baseline is where you want to go. And Brodzianski again finishing with a nice touch.
Carter from the corner. Cold-blooded 3 by Javon Carter, who has 15.
Big time shot. Of course, we mentioned earlier, he deserves to make the shots. He puts all the extra time in the gym. He's not lacking confidence. cannot go backwards, Jalen Fisher, against any West Virginia pressure.
10 to shoot. Inside Brodzianski. From the right side gets fouled. And Vlad Brodzianski, whose 7 points have all come in the second half, will go to the line.
16 foul against West Virginia.
Talk about putting time. I mean, good inside out. Nathan Adrian had the possession and looking weak side, catch and shoot with great confidence. I mean, give Nathan Adrian just that is an assist that should be worth 2, Rich, because not only is it the right pass at the right time, but it's the right guy to pass the ball to at the right time.
We talk about free throws late in the game. We haven't mentioned TCU. Vlad Brodzianski misses the first of 2. You want a close game? You want some excitement in college hoops? Mark Plansky, how about 10 lead changes in the last 3.5 minutes?
It's outstanding. Just a great effort by the Horned Frogs this afternoon. Now they have to convert, make the free throws, and Rich, on this end, you have to secure, box out, and get the rebound.
West Virginia, 1-point lead and the ball.
Now, if you're West Virginia, you know you want the ball in this guy's hands and Nathan Adrian's hands.
Adrian thought about it. 6 on the clock. Nice look. Carter to Adrian. 2 veterans.
It's the 2 guys Coach Huggins, day in and day out, tells us you cannot take them off the court. They're leading the team in minutes this afternoon, and those 2 guys know it.
And right now, a 3-point lead feels like a 30-point lead.
I think Jamie should call timeout. This is the 3rd possession against his 1-3-1, and he's not done anything.
Fisher, deep 3. Off the mark, and a foul on the floor. 3:11 to go, and Nathan Adrian coming up big with his veteran partner, Javon Carter.
Well, veteran partner is right, but when you've got the 2 guys who know where they are at all times, the ball pass for the man.
Tonight after BYU and #1 Gonzaga battle on ESPN, catch SportsCenter at night with Max and the coach. Everything from a busy night in college hoops, plus the NBA, NHL, spring training, and NFL news. That's SportsCenter at night with Max and the coach. Vlad Brodzianski on the line, 1-1. And he misses the free throw again.
Ooh, those are big. And you have to capitalize.
Under 3 minutes to go. If TCU could beat West Virginia, it'll be their signature win of the season and secure them a place in the NCAA tournament. So says resident bracketology expert Joe Lenardi. If they lose, they'll be on the outside looking in. And that drought that goes all the way back to 1998 will be extended by 1 more year.
Jalen Fisher getting an education by the junior and senior guards of West Virginia. That time, Tariq Phillip just put him in his pocket. He had to foul and send him to the foul line.
Phillip knocks down the free throw. That extends the West Virginia lead to 4.
And this is the one guy who wants the ball in his hands at the charity stripe at the end of games. 3 for 3 today, 75% in Big 12 conference play from the line.
A 5-point West Virginia lead, 2:50 to go.
1-3-1, half-court pressure. You have to get in the gaps and get the ball to the baseline. Then you have 2-on-1.
Brodzianski guarded by the smaller Javon Carter, but he gave it up. 5 to shoot. Fisher, good shot fake. Clean look at the basket, but he came up short. Loose ball. And a jump ball. It'll be possession arrow, Horned Frogs. Javon Carter's arguing that it should be West Virginia basketball. And now the officials are going to have to talk it over.
You talk about a coach on the court. Are you kidding me? Javon Carter came running over to our scorers table the moment he found out the referees were going to award TCU the possession. They may be correct, but I think that is remarkable IQ for the junior guard, Javon Carter.
Possession TCU.
And it will be indeed TCU ball with 2:21 left, despite the protestations
And how about
of the junior Javon Carter.
Veteran referee John Higgins goes up to Javon and says, okay, we were right. Is that okay? You okay, Javon? Can we keep playing?
How does TCU get a bucket here?
They have to get the ball in the gaps and to the baseline. There it is.
Brodzianski.
Great job by Williams. Henry Williams took that extra dribble and got 3 defenders in that 1-3-1 to collapse, and the baseline is open. And how about Vladimir with the 3?
Macon, quick shot, no. Bain, the weak side rebound. They could tie it with a 2, take the lead with a 3.
I would have liked to have seen Robinson take that ball. He's so good at getting to the rim. He had the numbers. You don't want to back up against this team.
And the West Virginia defense forces an unforced error against Kenrich Williams. Backcourt violation, West Virginia ball. The 21st turnover of the afternoon for the Frogs.
Hello, West Virginia.
Well, we'll go back to not the opening tip, but moments before the opening tip. Here's what Jamie Dixon had to say about laying it out all in front of his Horned Frogs team.
All right, people, pretty simple here now. We said the last couple days, biggest game of the year for us, all right? No need to hide from it. You guys got social media. They're talking about it. You're asking, all right? No need to hide from it. We know what it is, so go and do it. You will post. You will show up. You will execute. We will play well.
Well, telling his team is going to win with positivity, result in great effort and positive play. When you take the ball to the rim, like Alex Robinson has done all afternoon, and knock down threes like Jalen Fisher, Jamie Fisher has to be very pleased with the effort and the attitude his team has shown him this afternoon.
A 60-58 lead, West Virginia with the ball. Possession arrow also in favor of the Mountaineers. 1:23 to go.
I almost said, don't let Javon Carter touch the basketball. He is that good at this time of the game with the ball.
Carter, blocked by Brodzianski.
Maybe look for Jamie to call a timeout if he doesn't like the look, because this is the possession of the game.
NCAA tournament hopes riding on this win for TCU. And the foul is going to go on Carter, his fourth.
The foul is on number 2, Javon Carter.
Nice job by TCU recognizing, gets the ball to the baseline. Better job by Jalen Fisher, not settling for the 3 and taking it against Javon Carter and getting to the line.
Jalen Fisher shoots 78% from the free throw line, and the freshman calmly knocks that one down to bring the Frogs to within a point.
Boy, that was calm, wasn't it?
And he has now tied his career high with 18 points.
Well, you can look for West Virginia to take a lot of this 30 seconds and look for Adrian and Carter to have the basketball.
Good hands by the Frogs.
Well, they had that. That was a great roll by Macon.
Off the screen, Carter, mismatch with Brodzianski guarding him. 3 to shoot. And he missed it. Shot clock is off. No timeout from Dixon. And now he wants to talk it over. Precious seconds ticking off the clock. 12.6 left.
You said it, partner. I was trying to read the lips of Jamie Dixon with his frustration. at the timeout call, and it was just that. He thinks he lost a couple of seconds, and boy, are they precious with 12.6 left.
Well, partner, you go back 30 years or so. You know what it's like to play in high-pressure situations. You were on that 85 Villanova team that stunned the world and went on to beat Georgetown in the NCAA championship game. What are both of these coaches saying to their respective teams in the huddles right now?
It's so funny because Rolly Massimino told us in that halftime, we can win. No one else believed it, but we did. So Jamie Dixon has that TCU team thinking he can win. So what does he need to do? They're going to play with confidence. Get the ball in first and get to the rim. That takes confidence. If I'm West Virginia and Bob Huggins, I'm going to say do what we've done all game long. We're going to strap on, press Virginia from the sideline. We're going to deny. We're not going to let them get the ball in bounds. And when they do, look for them to continue this 1-3-1 pressure and sneak in. Try to force the ball, Rich, to somebody who is not comfortable handling the basketball. I want Alex Robinson and Jalen Fishing touching the basketball.
TCU 6-9 in league play. You would have to think in a league this difficult and this balanced that getting even one game under 500 still gives you a good shot to get into the NCAA tournament. And according to Joe Lunardi, that 7th win today for TCU would be what they need to make it to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1988. Possession arrow, West Virginia. Both teams have a timeout left. 12.6 left. And TCU with the ball, down 1. They get it to Brodzianski. Here's Robinson. And the foul is called. Still a lot of time left on the clock, 9.1, but Alex Robinson is going to be going to the line to try to give the Horned Frogs the lead.
Excellent execution. Brodzianski coming out for the bailout pass just to get the ball in bounds. And as we talk, Alex Robinson has gotten to the rim all game long. Good call. He got by Phillip, and Phillip came in from behind with the body.
Robinson now 1 for 3 this afternoon, just a 63% free throw shooter on the season. We talked about free throws down the stretch being critical, but we were talking about West Virginia. The same holds true for these Frogs. Robinson can still tie it up. And he rolls it in.
Talk about tough. I mean, you missed the first shot in your home gym to potentially go up against the team you need to beat. And he comes back and rolls it in like a caterpillar with a soft touch. That was outstanding.
We are tied at 60, 9.1 left to go. West Virginia, no stranger to close games. They played in 4 overtime games this Big 12 season, and they're 1-3 in those 4 games. Since we have a timeout on the floor, we're going to send things back to the ESPN studios. Here's Doug Kazarian.
Rich, thank you. Just letting our viewers know they are underway in Ames over on ESPN3, or watch ESPN. As soon as you guys are done, they'll move over to ESPN. But hey, a lot can happen in 10 seconds, fellas.
Well, Javon Carter has been the leader for this West Virginia team. He leads the scorers with 15 points. And you got to believe he's going to have the ball in his hands the final 9.1.
You're wasting your time over here broadcasting. You should be a coach. I mean, how did you realize that?
Master of the obvious,
Maybe
right?
we should look at this video package. He is the do-it-all guy, off the dribble, knocking down the threes this afternoon as well. But more importantly, Rich, you're spot on. No one in this arena wants the ball more than Javon Carter right now.
And to that end, you see TCU showing full court pressure.
And Fisher should stay denying Javon Carter.
Instead, it's Daxter Miles. And Pat Adams said his bad. He's going to have to reset the clock. He started it early.
I'm watching Nathan Adrian out here, and he knows that this is the worst thing that could happen because they set up a play that you don't see very often this time of year or in college basketball. They threw the ball. They passed the ball on the baseline rather than run. And Adrian stepped out of bounds. If they do it again, Bradzianski knows it, and now he backs up.
Yeah, that's why Bob Huggins was so upset. They still get it back to Miles. 5. And the foul is called.
Oh, my goodness.
4.8 left. And a 2-shot foul is called on TCU.
Well, Dexter Miles very comfortable with the basketball. The contact may have been early, but at this point of the game, in this type of game, Rich, you have to let that go.
So here's Dexter Miles at the line looking to give West Virginia the lead. A 56% free throw shooter. Well, what has been the Achilles heel for West Virginia in close games is coming up big for them in this contest. Free throws down the stretch.
Jamie Dixon having one timeout left, Rich, wants him to get the ball to half court. Something that would really crush TCU right now is a missed free throw and tap the ball around for a couple of seconds.
West Virginia, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation. And Miles missed it. And Bain with the rebound immediately calls timeout. So TCU will have the ball with 4.5 left and a chance to win the game that Joe Lunardi says will put them in the NCAA tournament. Couldn't have asked for a better end-of-game scenario, Mark.
You beat me to it. If you drew it out 2.5 hours ago when we started, 3, 4, 5 hours ago when we started preparing for this game, doesn't get any better than this. We know 4.5 seconds is plenty of time to get the length of the court. We also know from last year's championship game that you want to put a guy on the ball. I would look for Huggs to put one of his big guys, his long, lengthy guys on the ball. And you can see Jamie Dixon, they've practiced these plays. We watched them at practice yesterday, Rich. Get the ball into Jalen Fisher's or Alex Robinson's hands and straight line to the rim.
This TCU program and fan base has been waiting a long time to have a basketball team they could get behind, and they have done that in Jamie Dixon's first season in Fort Worth, returning to his alma mater and trying to lead in his first year the Horned Frogs back to the big dance. They're going to have to go the length of the floor to do it. No timeouts for either team.
Huggs has decided to back everyone off and keep everything in front of him, which is not a bad option when you have the size that he has on the court right now.
And Jamie Dixon is telling Alex Robinson, when you get the ball, you dribble and drive. Here's Robinson. Gives it up for the win. Bain! No! And a heartbreaking loss. The TCU Horned Frogs had every opportunity this afternoon and come up 1 point shy.
You called it, partner. They could not have executed it any better. Robinson got the ball, attacked, drew 3 guys, and the freshman Desmond Bain, who made 2 threes, one at the very end of the first half and one in the second half, had a chance to win the game.
Well, this might go down as the biggest foul of the year, the one that was called on the freshman, Jalen Fisher, that gave Dexter Miles 2 free throws.
Or the biggest non-foul of the year that was called a foul. I have to agree. There's a bump early, as we all saw, but in this game, with all the contact off the dribble that we have seen by both teams, you cannot call this with less than 5 seconds left, in my opinion.
Miles ended up going 1 for 2 from the line, and Alex Robinson had a head of steam driving into the lane, and he decided to dish it off, and Desmond Bain's shot comes up short. And so does the TCU hopes to get to the NCAA tournament. West Virginia holds on for the 1-point win, 61-60 over the Frogs. Now we send you to Ames for the Baylor-Iowa State game. For Mark Plansky, I'm Rich Hollenberg. So long from Fort Worth.